This is the story of John and Florence Pollock, a modest couple living a simple life in England. They worked in milk delivery and lived a quiet, hard-working life. They were also deeply religious. At first, everything was normal, but that would soon change. On February 25th, 1946, their first daughter was born. Her name was Joanna. To give her a better life, the family moved to a beautiful town, surrounded by orchards. Later, they expanded their business and settled in Hexham. A few years passed. In 1950, Florence became pregnant again. And on April 13th, 1951, their second daughter was born. They named her Jacqueline. Everything was going well. The Pollock family now had 2 daughters and a life above their expectations. Their only goal was to give their children a better future. So they worked non-stop. The girls were mostly cared for by their grandmother. While the parents worked, she raised them. Like many families, their life was simple, routine, peaceful. The 2 sisters, only 5 years apart, were incredibly close. They played together every day. Joanna took care of Jacqueline. She guided her, protected her. One day, while playing, Jacqueline hit her head on the edge of a bucket. She was only 3 years old. She needed stitches, and a scar remained on her forehead, a scar that became more visible in cold weather. Joanna was different. She was full of energy, the joy of the house. In the evenings, she would stand in front of her family and perform stories. She had written herself. She wore special clothes, used accessories, and entertained everyone. It was a happy home. The girls loved simple things, combing hair, playing in the garden, and swinging on the swing outside. Even their grandmother found joy in watching them. But time passed, and one single day changed everything forever. May 5th, 1957, a normal Sunday. The girls were walking to church, as they always did. But that day, something went terribly wrong. A car suddenly lost control and drove straight toward them, as if it was intentional. Within seconds, everything was over. The 2 girls were thrown to the ground in front of shocked witnesses. Joanna and Jacqueline were gone. The tragedy destroyed the Pollock family. Life lost its meaning. They stopped working, stopped seeing people. They withdrew completely. But the investigation continued. The driver claimed it was an accident, but under pressure, his wife confessed something disturbing. They had daughters too, taken away from them, placed in state care. And when she saw Joanna and Jacqueline, she believed they looked like her own children. In that moment, she grabbed the steering wheel and drove straight toward them. If I can't have my daughters, no one else will. After that, the Pollock family was never the same. Time passed. John searched for a way to escape the pain. And then he had a belief. If we have children again, our daughters will come back. Florence did not believe this. She believed her children were in heaven. But in 1958, something happened. Florence became pregnant again. And this time, she gave birth to twin girls, Jennifer and Gillian. At first, everything seemed normal. But then, the strange things began. Both girls had birthmarks, marks that matched their deceased sisters. Jennifer had a mark on her head in the exact same place as Jacqueline's old injury. And just like before, it became more visible in cold weather. When they turned 3, something even stranger happened. They began asking for toys that belonged to their dead sisters. Toys they had never seen before. But they didn't just recognize them, they named them correctly. The family watched as the twins divided the toys. Gillian took Joanna's toys. Jennifer took Jacqueline's. And for the first time, they didn't argue. It was as if they already knew. They even spoke about Christmas gifts that were never meant for them, but for the sisters who had died. As they grew, their behavior became even more familiar. They performed stories, wore unusual clothes, entertained the family, just like before. Then, at age 4, they spoke about a swing from their old home. But there was a problem. They had moved away. Years ago, they had no memory of that place. So how did they know? When the family returned to Hexham, everything became even stranger. The twins recognized everything: streets, shops, the school, the park, as if they had lived there before. John became convinced. These are our daughters. They've come back. But Florence refused. Even with all the evidence, she could not accept it. Then came another detail. The twins were terrified of cars, not just afraid. Terrified. One day, one pointed to the other's scar and said, "That's where the car hit you." And when they heard a car, they screamed, "It's coming for us!" This fear continued until they were about 5 years old. Years later, a psychologist named Ian Stevenson became interested in the case. He studied children who claimed to remember past lives. Many scientists rejected the story. They believed it was psychological, a result of trauma. But some details remained unexplained. The birthmarks, the memories, the fear. So the question remains, was this grief or something we still don't understand? Because even today, this remains one of the most mysterious cases of reincarnation. And sometimes, the hardest part is not what we see, but what we can't explain.